Hey everyone, it's Steve, hello. So for Accounting 110, as you have probably seen in order to get to this video, each chapter I have the text and homework posted for you in the assignment. And also what I've done for the other assignments, I'm kind of going backwards here a little bit, is post a little bit of just kind of a little starter video, is kind of what I call it, like a homework starter. Doesn't really kind of cover everything, but typically I go over some or all of the first problem to just kind of get you started and kind of get you talk a little bit about the chapter and what we're doing. And so I've done it for all the other chapters, so now I'm going to go back here and do this first one. One thing to notice when you're before you start the homework is that there's always a right here, there should be. You see the 6.3 here, and that is to go to 6.3 in the book, and that's kind of what the section of the book and the text that this particular homework is covering. That's what continues, which is mine. So, if you have any problems with other homeworks, you can kind of go, find your way back in the chapter. So this first one here, we're going to look. This is a pretty straightforward. It's a pretty straightforward problem. This is one where we are doing some purchases on account, purchases on cash, and how that affects inventory, and also looking at sort of your classic accounting problem that involves a discount, which here we have, it's a 210 net 30, 210 net 30. And so, yeah, so I'm going to kind of go over this. If you've had any accounting classes before this, which you should have before you took the class, this should be reviewed, but you never know. And a lot of times it's always good to have practice, and it could have been a long time since you've had the accounting class. So here, I'm just going to pull this to the side, and you can follow along. We're just going to quickly go through this. And like I say, these videos where we do the homework starters, they're not super long, but they just kind of, touch on the stuff we're going to be doing. One thing I should mention here while I have the first one, this summer I kind of went through and did a bunch of changes to the homework, threw some problems out, added some in, changed things around. I think I have everything set up correctly. If you see like, hey, open my working papers and I open my homework and they don't match up, of course let me know and I'll fix it. It's just keep in mind that if you see something that doesn't look right, just say something to me. It very easily could have been just something that I've forgotten to do along the way. So just kind of a caveat there. I did a lot of revamping the problems that we go over for this course, or the problems we do for this course, and some stuff got slipped through the cracks. Hopefully not, knock on wood, but okay, let's actually get into the problem here. So we've got problem PA5, and we've got this birdhouse company that they've purchased 55 birdhouses at $40 each with cash. So here we're not worrying about a discount or anything because we paid cash. And so it's going to be a straightforward cash going out, merchandise inventory going in. The book sometimes uses the language as purchases instead of merchandise inventory. That's fine. I would prefer if you put merchandise inventory for all of these. You don't have to get too more specific than that, at least in this chapter, I think. But I prefer it, again, kind of no big deal. But and then cash, because cash is going out. And of course, then we would take them, what was it, $40 each, and we bought 55 of them. Let's pretend that I don't have the key in front of me, and I quickly clickety done the math, and it is $2,200. And so there we go. That's right. Oops. Kind of going back to our debits and credits is easy for me to say. Debits and credits balance. Everything's good. Put a note in. Doesn't have to be much. In the key, it says to recognize inventory purchases with cash. Blah blah blah. Just something like that. Just a very, very straightforward, very simple note. As I always say, what I say in my classes is, if you're putting a note in, the note only has to be as sort of complicated or as it would be, as long as you, the bookkeeper, knows what that note refers to, and an auditor could also know what that note refers to, that's fine. You don't have to go in super depth, like what was the inventory you bought, et cetera, et cetera. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And I'm not going to put one in at all. Zip through this, right? Okay, so the next thing we have is here we do purchase some on credit. Doesn't really say the name of the company that we're purchasing them from, so that might be going to note, but we don't have that. So here we purchased 80 birdhouses instead. These are going to be for $45, and we bought it on credit, and it's a 210 net 30 discount rate, which doesn't matter yet, but it might. So we're going to go in here, and we would just again do merchandise inventory. And of course, because we did it on account, it is not cash, it is accounts payable. And the math here is 3,600. Right, pretty easy peasy stuff, right? So we go on to the 10th, and what happens? Oh no! We've discovered that 10 of these birdhouses are damaged from the September 6th purchase. This is the cash purchase. And return them for a full refund. We also discovered that 10 of we bought these birdhouses from. 10 of those are also painted the wrong color. Oh, okay. We painted them the wrong color, but we keep them since the supplier granted an allowance of $20 per birdhouse. Pretty nice. Okay, so for the first one here, just a straight return. It was cash and merchandise inventory. Merchandise inventory and cash. So we're just going to flip that for this return. So we're going to receive our cash back. And of course, we don't have that inventory anymore because we returned it. So there you go, that's it. So we just flip it for how many of it? 10. So they were $40, it's $400. So here, cash back to the business. And merchandise inventory. Ooh, boy. Okay. So it's $400. And then for the second part of this transaction, it's going to be similar to the flip we just did, but in this case, it's not going, we didn't send them back. We're going to reduce the amount of merchandise inventory, and we're going to reduce the amount of accounts payable. The accounts payable, pretty obvious, right? Because they gave us this allowance. So, sorry. So we're going to owe less money. We're going to owe less than $200. But also, we're going to reduce the value of our inventory by $200 as well. And we do this because, in accounting, because of the principles of accounting, the GAAP principles, is that we need to record our purchases, what we paid for them. So earlier we said that we had, $3,600. Well, not really. So we're taking $200 off because we had to pay $200 less. So it's not about what the item could get in the market, it's about what we paid for it. And because we had to pay $200 less, we're going to discount our own inventory account by $200 as well. So maybe merch, it's getting shorter and shorter. Merch in, okay. And then finally here on the 18th, looks like we have paid our account in full from September 8th, less any returns, allowances, and or discounts. And so we've already taken care of this allowance. We didn't have any returns. We had that allowance for this one because we only returned the ones that we paid for cash. And so in this case, we owe $3,400. But we have also gone in and remember we had the terms of 210 net 30, which means if we pay within 10 days, we're going to get a 2% discount. So we're going to go in and we're going to figure out what 2% is from $3,400. Remember, it's not going to be 36 because 200 has already gone away with the allowance that they gave us. So here we're going to find out what 2% of $3,400 is. We do that, it's $68. And so now we are going to pay that off. So our credit is accounts payable. As we know, accounts payable is credit normal, so we debit it when we pay something off because we're reducing that account for $3,400 because we do not owe that anymore. However, we're not just going to put that we paid cash for $3,400 because we paid it off, but we didn't pay $3,400. We paid because we paid within that 10 days, we do get our 2% discount. In that case, again, because our inventory, the merchandise inventory, because our inventory, we're paying $68 less, we are going to discount that by $68. Again, for the same principle, when we receive that allowance, is that we are recording the products for what we paid for them, not necessarily the amount they could catch in the open market, because we could get like a screaming good deal, maybe we could overpay by a crazy amount. We have to, that's what matters to our books, is how much we actually paid for it. So here we put the $68 because that is the amount of the discount, and the actual cash that is going out to the person we owe. Well, I did it again. Imagine those are lined up. The amount that we're actually sending out is $3,332. You add those two together, you get $3,400. That matches our credits have now matched our debit, and we're good to go. So that is the first problem. There you go. There's a gimme. And the rest of most of the problems, the rest of the way follows suit. You know, there's sort of some riff on this. There is a trial balance and simple income statement versus multi-step income statement. That's pretty straightforward stuff. I think it's probably stuff that you've had a lot, so I'm not going to really go over it. I do think it would pretty much just be a review. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. And so again, this is kind of how I've done the rest of the videos for the course. Yeah, have a great night, whatever you're doing. Stay safe, and as always, if you have questions, let me know. Bye-bye.